Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Blue Archive reaction. Today we have themes 149 and 155. This was commented by a duo, actually. It was Henry and then refined by Faith, who had a better song idea for the secondary one. And I was like, sure, why not? It also got the most votes on this that I could tell. So we're going to do Ark in the Blood Sky, which is 149 first, and then 155, which is a song called Responsibility. Without further ado, let's go. Starting dark. We're going like cyber techno atmospheric kind of. Ooh. Yeah, that is kind of where it's going. Ooh. Ooh! Oh, wait a minute. That's a harder beat than I thought it was gonna be. I think I was kind of expecting more of like a 90s trance kind of like dance beat, maybe. That's kind of what the rest of the song is doing, but that was a little bit more like an acid sort of techno sound. I love that envelope synth. That's so 90s. Oh man. Definitely like an acid dance transport kind of thing. Woo! Ooh, solo. That was a really like short, clean, to the point kind of solo. It didn't even feel like a solo, but I loved what it added. That was really cool. Surprisingly nostalgic. I used to listen to a bunch of acid trance when I was like first getting into electronic dance and such. It's a fun genre to like listen to in general. There's so many different synths happening, and while they definitely have those staples like that one I mentioned, that like enveloping sort of like low pass filter on the synth, it just feels so nostalgic to hear it in a more modern track. That major rise minor fall is basically a music standard of all time. It is just everywhere, and it works well in trance, especially because you're already moving with the energy. You're kind of feeling the energy around the song, and it doesn't go into a chorus like what would normally happen for a standard song with lyrics. It usually just utilizes it as a drop, because that's kind of what electronic music does more than have its own chorus when it's non-lyrical, of course. It also had a really familiar like arp that was going on, the arpeggio that was kind of just like the whole way through, and it complemented the main arp that was being used for the majority of the song's synth. So it just married very well, and then kind of when it fell apart there at the end, like on purpose. That was just kind of an interesting thing to do to get it out of the solo. It felt very abrupt, but it was like this total annihilation sort of thing where it's just like, let's crank everything as far as we can like theoretically get it for the song, and then just have it crash, so to speak. But then right after that, it built itself back up to then leave us at the top. You know, like it rose and then it kept us at the very top after that rise right at the end of the song, and it just ends there. It's like, okay, all right, I'm not sure why that rise was there necessarily. I'm not sure if it's supposed to go into a different song like immediately after that, or if it loops back. It doesn't feel like it would loop back after rising that high, but I guess I'd have to hear it in context to know for sure. But either way, a really interesting like homage to that era of music. It's of course something that I hold very dear, because while I didn't like live through the 90s and remember it, I was like 3 at the end of the 90s. It's still a matter of like that influence carrying into the years years, I do remember. But that's just kind of how the world creatively works. You'll wake up one day and decide you want to make something, and that thing will be inspired by the people who inspired you. So you get this kind of every 10 to 15 years, you get kind of like a recycling of ideas that go through, and musically that's always been kind of the case. It slowly evolves over time, as all things do, but there's always just a little bit of something from the prior generation or generations. So that's all that's really does for me, is it reminds me of like when I was like 7 and I was still partaking in media that had that sort of influence. It's the same kind of thing I have with ska. I remember a lot of it from when I was a kid, but I didn't get into it till many years later because it just wasn't directly in my life for any reason. It was just around me. But anyway, we should be getting to the second song. So this is Responsibility. The first one was by KARUT. This one's by Nor, and I'm sure it's going to sound completely different. So let's go. Already completely different. There's a lot of like delay on this one, like echo delay. Ooh. Ooh. This is so much more calm. How are these related? That might be able I just kind of vibe out. That bass is really fun. That like the kick drum sample there. Really beefy 808 kind of flavor. A little hip-hoppy. Definitely got to be some like hip-hop influence to this. But it's much more melodic. Man, I'm just finding myself like, this is the type of song that I want to go to sleep to on loop. It's so calming, dude. So this one had a little bit of that nostalgic energy I've talked about many times in videos before. I think that that's mostly just the way that this song carries itself through. It has a soft arpeggio compared to the other one that was much more aggressive with that acid style. So this one just kind of lets you float on a cloud, you know, like out to sea, whatever you want to use as your analogy. It just kind of takes you there. And it's the type of song you'd put headphones in and listen to while you're staring up at the clouds in a field of grass somewhere. It's just that exact imagery is what I was feeling with this one. So I did pick it apart a little bit, and this song is in the key of E, which everyone knows as the key of nostalgia. If you haven't seen my entire video I made on this last year sometime, by all means go do that. I'll pop it up here in an info card so you can go watch it. It's literally entirely about the concept of the key of E and why it's important in a specific song, using an Arknights track as the basis of that video. But the reason that this song hit my ear so hard is because it does that cyclical thing I love, where it brings you down the entire key in just a couple of notes, and then it starts again. It just brings you down simply from E flat to B to F sharp to E. And the reason that that I think works cyclically is because it ends on the half step off from where it started. So it really feels like it's being brought back to the beginning, but just slightly lifted up because the last note is the full note, not the flat or sharp. So you kind of just get this. And these two, the start and the end, shouldn't work together because they're right next to each other on the keyboard technically, because if I were to go down to the same set of octave here, They definitely don't work together, but on the whole key itself, running up the entire scale of this one, right there. And these two, that's that relationship again, just at the top. So it's kind of this like do we don't we relationship with each other as they start and stop, but just a little off, so it allows that open end to kind of go back down that scale every single time without it feeling like it's ever stopping or that it ever needs to, because it's such a perfect carry to the next octave. You could do that exact same thing, probably going down or up as many octaves as you would, and it would still sound as smooth as it does, because it's just taking that entire key and compressing it to 4 notes. I gotta tip my hat to Nor on that one. That is a very intelligent way to utilize a key and keep it going, keeping things just constantly moving in the background. And like I had already given it the compliment that it's just really soft and very inviting. This whole track is just kind of another nostalgia trip, and how important that is. But in this way, instead of being nostalgic for the energetic music that I used to hear when I was younger, this is nostalgic for the music that I remember listening to with the windows open and just having like the world is my oyster kind of thoughts when I was younger. And I was just vibing more than I was like, yeah, let's go party. It's a completely different type of nostalgia, but it definitely hits the same general pocket of nostalgia. And maybe that's why they work together in this context. I am probably going to download this one to a playlist somewhere and just vibe to it. May play it while I'm actually trying to sleep. Maybe it'll help me sleep sometimes. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's about all I've got to say. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other songs you want me to get to from Blue Archive or any other media, drop them down in the comments below and I will do my best. I usually try to do the Blue Archive ones in pairs just because they are so short and easy to break down. But if you have any individual ones that are longer or something, let me know. And otherwise, if you like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more, you know how to do all that. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!